All right, everyone, welcome to the Life Saving Chronicles, episode 3. Here we are going to talk about the new American Red Cross lifeguarding curriculum that was just released. Pretty exciting stuff. We've got a great cast of lifeguard instructor trainers with us today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We'll start to my left. Vinny, tell us all about yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vinny. I am the Vice President of Aquatics for YMCA Buffalo Niagara here in Western New York. So I oversee aquatic directors, then trickles down into overseeing lifeguards, swim lesson programming, all the fun functions that, aquatics director would be overseeing.
Hey, everybody. My name is Luke. I work for Dave Coates at the National Safety Training Center. I do lifeguarding, CPR, and a number of other projects directed to me by Dave. I work up and down the East Coast, so wherever you may need a class, that's where I could be.
Luke is very shy, and he's actually done some amazing things. He's my hero. Ryan.
I'm Ryan Collins. I'm the owner and founder of Safety First Training, and just outside of Austin, Texas. We serve clients and provide services on site for them. We also have a local pool that we coordinate for our own classes through, although most of our classes are traveling.
Cool. So let me just start off. The release is out. R24 lifeguarding is available. And as instructor trainers, when we do instructor classes now, we're required to teach the new program. So that's something that some people struggle with a little bit. It's like, well, we just got it like today. And yes, if you're teaching a lifeguard instructor class today, you have to use the new material. So with that said, I've done the instructor trainer update. I think the rest of the crew has here as well. My personal kind of view is a lot of the stuff is very, very similar, if not exactly the same. There are a couple of the new additions. Vinny, what did you find new about this whole material?
I really like the addition and breakdown with the specifics to both the prereqs, give the expectations of what we're looking for there, but in more in-depth description of the 3 final skill scenarios as well. And taking that a little bit further, just another resource that really elaborates what example feedback in modeling for instructor trainers.
One of the new things is this prereq, which is a little different. So it's slightly less swimming, but it integrates the treading water skill into that one scenario. And even better, as Vinny was suggesting, there's a video for us all to watch, say, hey, this is what we expect you to do. So those of us who've been doing this for a while, we were all creating our own videos of this is what you should expect at lifeguarding class. Now the Red Cross has kind of seen the light and they produced that video for us. Ryan, what have you seen that's new in this program?
I think the main thing are the format of the videos. The videos now have closed captioning, which was something that we wanted for a long time. Just them updated in a better format and more realistic is what I'm the most excited about.
And obviously new videos, for those of us who have been doing this for a while, I'm a recovering educator. I taught the academies for a couple of years. A lot of the people in the videos are my friends. Oh, look, it's Brandon. Brandon's all over this. Basically, it's the Brandon show, which is wonderful. He's a great person and he's a very good ambassador for the American Red Cross. Luke, when you looked at all the updates, what did you find that kind of piqued your interest as the new material was coming out?
All right. Well, I haven't looked at all the updates, but I certainly looked at the test. The test does look a bit more focused on actually testing skills and knowledge of those skills, especially concerning basic life support and skills in the water. So I think that's a vast improvement over the kind of lame questions they had on the previous test, I would say.
I think Brandon was involved in some of the previous test questions too. But yeah, so it's one test as opposed to 2 tests. And if you do blended learning or instructor led, it's one test. It's always going to be in person. There's no online option, 100% in person, final written test. I did not see the A and B versions yet, but I simply presume they exist.
I do love that participants now they can't get caught up finishing the blended with, hey, I didn't pass the exam. If you're doing more of that intensive outline where they got to have it done. So it's nice that that is not a teaching constraint and we're delivering it.
Who wants to talk about the final skills scenarios? Ryan, tell us about the final skills scenario.
Well, they did add a new addition to it, which is going to be a surveillance portion of it. I need to read a little bit more into it to kind of get the nitty and the gritty of that. So I just know that that addition was added. I'm going to be reading a lot more to the specifics and how to implement it in my class.
That skill is definitely the communication between the lifeguards when they're switching positions and that they're maintaining surveillance on the aquatic area while switching back and forth.
So I know my original concerns was I didn't see any objective criteria, but I think, Luke, you've outlined those two things. You have to have communication. You need to maintain surveillance.
I think there's a lot of value in participants getting an opportunity to do that rotation under observation, a certified instructor before they go out in the real world, employer XYZ that might have a multi-guard setup, they're getting functional practice there.
I agree. So it's one of the things that we've been asking for. And certainly as we've all taught a bunch of lifeguard classes, we never really addressed it directly. It's one of the things that when we're out in the world doing lifeguarding, we see these transitions from people getting in the stand and getting off the stand. And so we raised the issue, and I think the Red Cross listened, and that's a good thing. What other things have we seen in the new curriculum that were particularly interesting?
So there is a and B version of our instructor's exams, as well as recertification. That changed from review to recertification now being the word that they're going to be using, as well as there's separate exams for LGIs when they certify and instructor trainers when they recertify. They are different.
Well, that's good because remember, it used to be you got one opportunity at the instructor level. So now at least we have two chances to pass the written test, which is more in line with the Red Cross overall, guidance that we want to have two opportunities every time that there's a challenge. Are you back? Excellent. Hey, just since you've just joined us, anything you want to share on what you've reviewed on the new program or otherwise?
I saw just during the online update, I'm really thrilled with the additions to information in the instructor program. Some of the concepts like how to run a staggered drill, how to set up your class for success in the pool environment are things that it seemed like we used to think were intuitive of people coming into aquatics to teach a lifeguarding class, but often in the classroom we found that they've never taught us in lesson before, so they don't understand these concepts. Being that into the instructor manual and into some of the online training they're going to do makes me very excited to know that they've taken an extra step to equip them before they come to a classroom.
I absolutely agree. I think that's a great step in the right direction for us. Sometimes you need a little clarity on how to run these things. And I think that worked well. The videos in general, there's more videos to these classes. That's really cool. Have any of you played with the new virtual reality lifeguarding simulation?
So I have. I've used it before. The beta tester is actually the city that I live in, Georgetown, Texas. So I got to try it out. It is very cool. It's very intuitive as well. I can see that as a great tool to teach lifeguards about scanning with a real life situation in which they have no idea who's actually drowning.
Just for the benefit of people who aren't familiar with what the heck this is, I'm pretty old. Virtual reality is like, I don't understand. Give me the 30-second clip on what this actually does.
Yeah. So they're going to put on a headset and what they are going to see is a pool area and they will have their zone marked. So they're aware of what area of the pool that they're watching. They're going to be looking for individuals who may be drowning, active drowning. I don't think there are any passives. I only tried it once. I know there's more scenarios. And then they're going to use the controller to select who's drowning and blow their whistle.
Very cool. It's hard to find people who are willing to drown for you. Stay underwater for 3 to 5 minutes. You'll be fine. That's difficult to find. So virtual reality seems like a much better way to do that and a great way to do that training. I know that my company we're presenting at the New Jersey Parks and Rec conference in a couple of weeks down in Atlantic City. We're going to be demoing this. So we'll actually have a big screen TV that mirrors what the wearer of the virtual reality headset. Is it an Oculus? Is that the right terminology?
So it's not Oculus anymore, but the company was purchased by Facebook. So it's called the Meta now. So 2, 3, or 3 Pro are the only ones that are going to support the lifeguarding software on there.
I'm sure I have one of those. I don't know which one, but we'll be demoing it at the conference in a couple of weeks. If you're hearing this and you happen to be at the New Jersey Parks and Rec conference at Harrah's in Atlantic City in 2 or 3 weeks, stop by. We'll give you a little tour of the thing. What have you guys seen in this new curriculum, if anything, that has substantially differed from the old program?
Think the big thing I saw looking through the instructor trainer guide for those ITs preparing to teach instructor courses or even recertification courses is there's a differentiated view of that practice in polished session and what that looks like. So with the initial instructor course, that instructor trainer, they're going to be giving examples, covering common errors. So they're doing a demo before the candidates are going to go ahead and practice it. Whereas when we delve into the recertification course, it's actually going to be broken up into teaching assignments for both instructors or instructor trainers that are there. So they're getting more hands-on experience, covering under the guidance of an instructor trainer when we're looking to recertify.
It's true. So what I noticed is they are definitely integrating instructor or instructor trainer demos for all the skills. So you're going to show the videos, which are still required. When you get to the pool deck or classroom area, the instructor is going to do a demo, maybe twice, so that whoever they're using as a victim can also see what's going on. Then they're going to have their students do it. We've been doing this in the academies for some time, but we've now integrated it into the instructor level and the participant level as well. Luke, did you see anything in there that was particularly interesting to you?
Admittedly, I haven't looked at that much of it yet.
We also have the lesson plans now for the recertification courses, the crossovers. So it actually details out what you need to do for both of those in a format that's better than just an outline, which I think is amazing. It's what's been needed. And it's just something that was very hard for lifeguard instructor candidates to wrap their heads around, and new lifeguard instructors as well.
So are you talking about the lifeguard crossover on the lifeguard, the provider level, or the instructor level?
You've got both. So you don't have to worry about it. They're there, which I'm glad they didn't just include it in one and not in the other. It's there in both of the materials for your instructor or your instructor trainer.
So Ryan, when's an appropriate case where you would actually do one of these crossover classes? Who teaches them and why?
So we've taught a few of them in our area. We've had instructors crossing over from the YMCA specifically. So the YMCA has been moving to majority American Red Cross courses for their aquatics environment. We've had to do crossover courses for people who are currently certified YMCA lifeguard instructors and now need to cross over into American Red Cross to be able to teach those courses.
So in other words, instead of having them go through the start, we can do a crossover class, which is an abbreviated class that gets them up to speed much faster and recognizes that they've already had some base level education as either a lifeguard or lifeguard instructor, as the case may be. It's a really cool program. I've taught a couple of them, and it works both for the YMCA. I think there are a couple other organizations that it works for too. Star Guard, Boy Scouts, I think.
Yes.
There may be one or two others, but those are the ones that I'm absolutely familiar with.
I'm going to ask a question here. So let's say I'm an instructor. I recertified last year and I want to teach a course in the spring. Can I simply review the material and incorporate the new material into my lesson? Or do I have to do retraining for the R24 certification?
Oh, you do. You do have to do that retraining. You have to do the update. That is on the Red Cross Learning Center instructor lifecycle program update. You'll see those instructions on how to complete it there, but you do have to have a current lifeguard certification as of today or the date that you're accessing it. Otherwise, you won't be able to access.
So let me just correct one issue there. If you're an existing lifeguard instructor today and you want to teach a lifeguarding class in May, very typical here in the Northeast, can you teach R17 the way it exists today in May? And the answer is
yes,
you can. If you want to teach the new program, R24, you do need to jump through a few hoops first. You have to do the instructor,
It's
what's
the
the technical term,
online
someone?
update right now.
the program update.
The instructor online update. So you can do that. It's online. It's easy. And then at some point in time, within a year or so of you taking the instructor online update, then you're going to need to attend an in-person update to do all those skills with one of us instructor trainers. But it's a great question. And sure,
I just want to clarify, if they run a course and they complete the course, they run that as a R21 or R17 course.
if you're teaching R17, you use the R17 code as you're reporting the class. If you're doing the R24 program, there's an R24 code as you're reporting there. That makes sense. That's a very good question. I'm sure that's exactly what a lot of people will want to know. Again, as instructor trainers, when we teach the instructor level classes from here on forward, we cannot teach the 17 program. We must teach R24. That's the difference between instructors and instructor trainers.
Yeah.
Emily, now that you seem to be with us technology-wise, what do you want to share about the program?
My big one is for anybody that's looking at this new program. I want you to take your R17 instructor manual. I want you to put it in a box, and I want you to tuck it away, because when you teach on the pool deck with the R24 program, you need to make sure that you're using the R24 terminology and material for everything that you present. We all have a long history with the Red Cross. We all like to talk about how we used to do things, but we have to remember that this is a new program, and you must look at it with a fresh set of eyes as if it was your first lifeguarding instructor or instructor trainer program, and present it with that fresh terminology, going through the fresh activities the way they are intended. And to wit, for those of us that have been around for a long time, TOWIT, teach only what's in the tech. And that would be the R24 if you're teaching R24. If you're going to teach R17 till August, make sure you're focused on only presenting the R17 information in your R17 courses.
Exactly correct. I'm sure if Clara Barton were here today, it's exactly what Clara would say.
A quick question. Are there any additional equipment requirements for the R24 curriculum?
I have not been able to find any. Anyone else?
Yeah, it's
Whistles.
required they have a whistle.
Mrs. Coates is not going to like that. We have found in our personal history that when you give kids a whistle during class, they blow it a lot during class. So there will be some new retraining to limit
When, where, and how.
when they can blow the whistle, I'm sure.
Question to the team. Has everyone had an opportunity to check out the new recertification requirements in terms of teaching for instructors or instructor trainers?
Tell us what you mean about that, because that's a couple different factors.
Sure. So looking at what teaching requirements, if they're still in place, there was a change from the R17 for both instructors or instructor trainers to be eligible for that recertification course.
My understanding, and please correct me if you read something different, where it used to be you had to teach a course, at least during this transition period, that's not necessary. All that's required is that you attend the instructor update. Is that what you were getting at?
Yeah. So, right now we're doing the online update, but then moving forward, it's just attending those in-person recertification classes rather than having a class.
I'm just going to make a pitch for one of my favorite topics in teaching in general, but very specific to lifeguarding as well. One of the best things that we do when we teach lifeguarding is we have multiple instructors. So when you do team teaching, it's so much better than having a single instructor. You can have one instructor that actually has the manual open or the new deck guide, but they can be reading this so we make sure we're using all the right current tech terminology, and we can kind of follow up to make sure all of that happens. When you do that with multiple instructors, I think ultimately you're presenting a better product to your students. So one of the best things about the instructor updates or recertifications that we've had over the past several years, when you get together with 5, 10, 20 new instructors that you've met for the first time, there's some sharing of ideas. And hey, this is how we've done things. This is how we've overcome some obstacles. So the in-person review has some side benefits that are substantial, measurable, and really cool. So big fan of team teaching. If you get a chance to do it, yes, you enjoy the administrative side of it. You enjoy, hey, listen, I couldn't get through to Bobby or Susie or whoever, but maybe my co-instructor can. So there's so many good things about team teaching that I hope everyone gets to try that at least one time in their career. Maybe as they see how cool it is, they'll choose to employ that as their primary method going forward. Any other parts of the lifeguarding curriculum that you guys want to talk about before we try and wrap this up a little bit?
I just want to give an honorable mention to the updated viewing of the progress tracker as a resource for documentation. In the past, it gave us all the list of skills, which was great. What I love about this new version is it lists what lesson in the instructor's manual it's from and the skills that fall within that specific lesson. So it's kind of itemized in a way in that format. And I love that because I think it has practical usage to keep track.
So we actually had one of our staff members break that down. It was a participant progress chart. at least in R17, that's what we called it. So we broke it down and added where you could find each of those skills in the manual. Someone else that I met told me that when they teach classes, frequently they'll have the students sign those participant progress charts, because we all have experienced when we do a review class where a student will say, oh, I never used a bag valve mask, or I never touched an AED. And I'm pretty sure that they did, and they just don't remember. By having that signed form, you can say, okay, listen, here it is. They signed it. They did it. Some of us video our classes and, oh, let's go look at the videotape. That's just a couple things that I got out of when I was doing a review class with instructors. And I took that, and I can do that moving forward. I think we took a curriculum that was already pretty good. The R17 curriculum was pretty darn good. And we've tweaked it a little bit, added a few things, and then made some of the processes better, easier to understand, better videos. I've struggled to find anything that I'm like, oh, they really shouldn't have done that. Kudos to the Red Cross for producing a pretty darn good product. As we close this out, clearly we as instructor trainers are going to be doing a lot of instructor trainer recertification over the next 6 to 12 months. So just quickly, let's talk about where we as a group will be doing those classes. Vinny, where do you normally teach your classes?
I teach through one of our YMCA branch locations within YMCA Buffalo, Niagara. So the greater area of Buffalo, New York, Western New York, that's where we're running classes.
By the way, Buffalo has a wonderful zoo. Not many people know what a wonderful zoo Buffalo has, but I'll go with it. Buffalo has a beautiful zoo. So if you're in the greater Buffalo area, you're going to want to see Vinny to go do your lifeguard instructor recertification. Ryan, I think you said you were in Texas, right?
Yeah. Outside of Austin, Texas, North Georgetown, Texas, Southwestern University is where we hold our recertification classes for lifeguard instructors. And then we will travel to clients. So we've got a few out in College Station. We'll probably be making a trip down towards San Antonio as well, just to get a few courses out there.
So for us here at National Safety Training Center, between Luke and myself, we have a location in Florida. So we teach in Orlando quite a bit. We have a class coming up the end of the month. And then we have a whole bunch in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Massachusetts, kind of covering the Northeast. We don't go to Buffalo. That's all you, Vinny. We're going to link all of our websites in the description box below, so you can find our classes. Of course, you can always use redcross.org to search for classes in your area as well. Folks, this was great talking with you about the new Red Cross lifeguarding program, R24, today. Again, I think we've concluded that we took an existing program that was pretty darn good. We've made some things even better, better videos, better paperwork, a couple new scenarios, and some new prerequisites. So we improved on a pretty good program, and now it's even better. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for joining us here at the Life Saving Chronicles episode 3. I'm sure we will do a deeper dive into the program as we continue throughout the season this year. And then I think the next show, here's the preview for the next show. We're going to talk about things that go wrong in both lifeguarding and CPR classes. We'll have some other instructors on, and we can talk about our experiences of what went wrong and then how we fixed it. Guys, from the National Safety Training Center, Dave Coates here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, team, for being here. And I appreciate all your help.